Hold on one second.
Yeah.
All right,
Kevin. Kevin.
Hey. So if you look at all those icons right there, excuse me. If you click on
I keep trying to close out. I'm sorry.
one of the time, it shows you who's on there.
Oh yeah. Oh Ray. Okay, Ray Stokely. There's that's cool. There's Krista Silver.
You sound like an ogre.
Really?
It's kind of cute.
You did for
Scott Hurst. Oh nice. Michael. Oh nice. Ray. Oh good.
Can you guys see all four screens still?
I see 3. There's one.
Yeah, we just lost one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd Dickerson's coming in
live, so I can press that. Hey, that's cool, man. I mean, it's hey, as long as it's got the imagery, you can kind of. I think what was missing was people when they talk, you kind of want to see the inflection, you know, in their way they're talking, you know.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, I gotta shut mine down for 1 second because I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh yeah.
But I'll be back in 1 minute. You guys can keep talking. Okay.
So where are you at? Hey. Where are you at, Patrick?
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Indiana. Okay. Yeah, this time of year I was out there for the Dent Smart meeting and it was pretty cold.
It's about 40, 45 degrees right now. I'm actually out in the backyard flipping burgers, practicing for my my next career.
Really? What's that? Cooking?
No. I'm just making dinner for the family. That's all.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're the cook. That's good.
Yeah, today I am.
I'm not a cook at all, man. That's my wife married someone who's an amazing cook. I'm pretty lucky, but I don't know. I don't get the whole way of not spilling things, burning. You know, I mean, overcooking. It's hard. It's hard to figure all that out.
Absolutely. I mean, it's. Now wait a minute. You can fix a train wreck, but you can't cook dinner.
No, it's the most amazing thing. If I'm given, you know, a plate and I'm spooning everything into the plate, I'm bound to spill something. There's something about the way you lift ingredients, don't, you know, spread it around, the way to tilt your spoon. I don't get it, you know, and I make a mess. I'm messy. You know?
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. It's not a passion of mine. I'm glad I married somebody who can cook. I can't imagine 2 people who don't cook. That's got to be tough.
Oh yeah. So
now,
I'm actually glad I'm on with you right now.
How's the workout in your area? Pretty good?
It's not too bad. We're a town of about 250,000 people, and I would say we probably have a dozen Dent guys for 250,000 people.
Wow. That's
wow.
That would be good, I would think.
1 per 20.
It's, you know, it's good and it's bad. Everybody's really, really loyal.
Yeah.
Like if you want wholesale work here, it's almost impossible. If you want retail work, you know, it's a little bit easier. It's just hard to get people to understand what it is. And, you know, that's been my struggle, I suppose, for the last few months.
Huh. So I have a 250,000 people. How many retail calls do you get a week?
Well, there's a backstory, but I probably get 1 per day.
Oh, that's a tough one.
You advertise?
I do, and actually, I was doing hail up until June of last year, so I had absolutely no web presence.
Oh, okay.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I just, my wife was having a struggle with me being gone, and I decided, okay, I'll, you know, obviously I'd rather have her than the hail money's nice. It's enjoyable. Sure. I'd love to have it here locally, but I decided it's time to do what I need to do instead of what I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough where you're at. I remember, you know, just being out there driving around the snow on the roads, driving by homes and kind of looking around thinking, there's just, I don't see me doing, you know, $3,000 on the bedside of some truck, you know,
right.
Or you know, and I just wondered, what it would be like if you got that one call from that one person that had a dent, and they got a hold of you, and you went out there, or you met him. How that goes along when you're the first guy he's tried. He's got 12 other guys, or at least 5. You kind of wonder how that pricing is going to go. Where does it start out?
Well, and that's been kind of an interesting learning experience for me too, because there are few enough guys that actually advertise retail that I don't have any competition. I'm against body shops here. That's it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Man, that's about the same situation I am. I really the only guy that's doing retail around here.
Yeah.
That brings up a good point. It brings up something that honestly,
We're back.
there's a big change right now out there. I don't honestly think there's enough retail techs. Too many wholesale techs. Way too many wholesale techs.
Oh yeah, there are way too many wholesale techs.
Not enough retail techs. And that's the thing. Where is most of the work? Where?
Right.
Right? I mean, go look on the freeway. There's way more cars traveling down that freeway every 30 seconds than cars at the dealership.
You have to get into their heads, and that's the hardest part.
Well, I mean, honestly, the way I look at it, and I live in an area that's got 50 techs around me easily.
Right.
But I'm around, 6 million people, and it comes down to, honestly, what you could fix that the others can't fix. That's the only way.
Well, what's the average size of your dealerships in your area?
There's quite a few, but I don't know, the average size. How would you judge that? Amount of cars, or?
Yeah, size their inventory. Especially like their used car inventory.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I'd say every lot here easily has more than 60 cars, maybe 250. Some of them. There's so much work. Wholesale.
Yeah, see, where I'm at, I mean the biggest dealer that I do, they may have 75 to 100 cars.
But that's a dealer. That's I don't work any dealers.
That's a mega lot.
I'm just talking about, I mean, when you look at true retail, it's basically someone getting a hold of you, David, and they get you to look at their car, you look at it, and you say you can fix it. And then they go to the other 5 guys in the area, and those same people don't quite feel comfortable with the way the other 4 or 5 guys talked about it. They'll come back to you.
Oh yeah,
my
closing rate is great. It's just my biggest problem is kind of like what Patrick was saying. 1 or 2 calls a day. And that's about it. I mean, I close 90% of them because because they're going to go down to the body shop down the street, and even though the body shop down the street, they offer paintless dent repair, but I mean, I do so much stuff, simple stuff that the body shop say, oh no, that can't be PDR. We need to replace that fender.
Well, let me ask you this. I see people always talking online, and they say you can get this money in any market. And they might be right. Being able to get the money may not be the problem. What about stereotyping a certain town where guys in Lawton, Oklahoma, or Milwaukee, or any other town really don't care about the dents on their cars as compared to a guy in San Francisco? I mean, you got Greenville, South Carolina, where Shane is, but I don't know how much retail he does. But I think some towns have like a personality too.
Yeah.
I gotta just differ with that remark there about people that don't.
No,
care.
that was a question. It was a question.
The way it works is there's always somebody. I mean, there is always somebody who cares about a particular vehicle they happen to own at that time in their life. Somebody buys a red Silverado and they get a dent in it, and it's been maintenance free. They just about have it halfway paid off. They've had in their background, they've had a repaint that they hated. That's your perfect customer. Do you get that work? That's the main thing, because if that one guy in that 1 month, was willing to do anything to get that truck not painted, did he find you and did you get the job? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Deals guys like that. Yeah, I get those all the time.
So that's what it comes down to, because I'm in the same position. I mean, I get so many people coming at me. How do I get the most money for it? I'm just giving so many estimates that 1 out of the 10 was really particular. But you can go to a town where there's not that many people, but at some point there's somebody in that town who's really particular about their vehicles.
Well, mine, I'd say the biggest part of my customers' cars are usually less than 3 years old.
Oh, really?
But
see, I thought you'd have a bunch of 97 Dodge Dakotas like we do in Owensville.
Oh, well, yeah, they ain't spending.
If you don't own a neon, so we're in Owensville, Missouri, central of Missouri, and there's probably, I think that the population is 2,500 here, give or take, and there is a minimum of probably 75 to 100 Dodge neons in this town. So this is a true story. There's a guy in town that rebuilds neons. You drive by his house, and there's always a couple dozen. And every day there's a different neon, or not every day, but there's always 2 or 3 neons for sale, and they're so cheap. And when you're in a small town where demographics are not that high, neons and Dakotas, man, they're sporting, dude. Tinted windows, some chrome caps from AutoZone. So I wonder, in a town like, Lawton, Oklahoma is similar to this, but it's a little bit bigger. But when you're in the redneck country, a lot of people just don't really carry. Now, but then again, what kind of car do they own? How many people have Mercedes or Bentleys?
Oh, they say that. That's the big thing. I agree with y'all guys that say that that a BMW costs the same price as it does in Sal's part of the country, and it costs the same as it does in St. Louis. But the nearest BMW and Mercedes dealership to Lawton is 50 miles away, and they only keep probably less than 10 cars in their inventory.
Yeah.
They probably keep a few more BMWs, but as far as the Mercedes, which is called Patterson Auto Center, they're a real big dealer, but they actually have their own in-house guy there because they're Dodge, GMC, Cadillac, Honda.
But David. But we're just talking with you. You're one guy, right?
Right.
But think about all of the people in the world that push Dents out. They're all in different markets, right? They're all in different economies. It's always so different for everybody. But the one thing that stays constant, I guarantee it, is there's somebody out there who doesn't want their car painted, and they have a big ugly dent. So, so if
finding that person,
enjoy your burgers, Patrick.
The main thing is, that's where the work is with those people that are really in love with their car, and you're in a demographic that has, maybe 1 or 2 of those a month that call. Are you getting that work? That's where the money is, because those people there will pay quite a bit. It's just a matter of, are you the person that gets the job? That's retail.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, if you were to have a map of the United States and the demographics, and you say rich area, poor, like a color scheme, I wonder how many companies that are brick and mortar or in those poor areas actually have other pieces to their business that they have to help them offset the lack of PDRable jobs. Like Sal, you just do dents. That's it. But a company like in Lawton or somewhere else might have to have window tinting or clear bra or something like that to make ends meet, to have a successful business. I wouldn't want to do it, but sometimes maybe that's what keeps the good ones going. They have that second source of income.
Man, I've looked into the clear bra options a couple of different times, and they're just, man, around here the dealers are not interested in it. The body shops.
You need to just move.
Yeah,
Sal,
well,
just move to California, man. Load up the truck and move to Beverly.
I need to move out there to become Sal's neighbor.
Somebody's asking, what percentage of people do you think in an average city actually knows what PDR is? I don't think it's a question of do they know what PDR is. I think it's a question of well, first of all, the first question you have to ask yourself is this, really simply. Hold
on. One question. Why does Sal have 421 claps and I only have 258? That's the question I want to know. That's just, see there. I knew they're going to pump you up even more. Go ahead.
Think about it this way. I forgot what I was going to say, damn it.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm trailing real far behind. I got 141.
Well, you were saying what percentage of people know?
Well, I mean, this is kind of how I look at it is no matter where you're at, you've got to get that customer that has the dent on their car that they love. They got to get a hold of you. So I'm losing you guys. I can't hear you now. Oh, there it goes. So are you out there when grandpa and grandma type in dent removal? Because think about this. If you ask yourself, is there a dent in a body shop today, right now, getting bonded and painted right now in your area? Is that happening?
Oh,
exactly.
every day.
Thank you. Exactly. So
every day. But see, that's the problem though, is most people, they don't know the term PDR. They don't know what we can do. So they go to the body shop first. It's only if the body shop scares them away on price, then they start looking for the alternatives.
But therein lies your work, right? So
right.
At some point,
well, here, if I'm losing my jobs to the body shop and I'm going to exercise, I'm rethinking from the get-go. I'm going to hit up every single adjuster I see, every agent I see. If a guy has a small dent or a really small mishap on his vehicle, you'd be surprised how many times they call their insurance agent rather than the insurance company first.
I didn't hear any of that.
Nothing?
Well, no.
Yeah, you're breaking in and out.
Yeah, you guys are too.
What'd you say? Ryan, what'd you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right. I think my boy just signed in on Xbox and he's taking my Wi-Fi. No, I was saying if I'm in a town where I'm losing all my work to body shops, then I would be hitting up all of the agents in town and all the adjusters, because usually if a guy has a small dent or a smaller dent, not airbags blown, they tend to call their agent before they call the insurance company. And if those agents know, hey, this is small, they might be able to steer those to you before sending them to the body shop. So if I'm losing them to the body shops, I would recommend my services to the agents and every adjuster I see.
Yeah, I've done that. I mean,
myself.
Not
what
every
happens
day,
to
of
me,
course, but yes, I do occasionally get a referral. More so from the agents than I do from the adjusters. Some like the adjusters they may write it and then they may suggest if it's something that's PDRable, but it's like they're scared that they're going to get in trouble with a DRP or something if they.
Exactly. So to me, what's difficult, I think, for a lot of guys is they have to have this relationship with a body shop in order to get, whatever work. And they, in a way, are kind of in a difficult.
Say hi. I don't know where it is, sugar. Call it. There you go.
I know. I think I'm in a bubble. A lot of people say I'm in a bubble out here. That's why I get all the money. But you'd be surprised.
Hey, Avery.
Out here.
Dave, can you come here for a second, sugar? I can still hear you. Go see if Drew secretly signed in on Xbox.
Can't make a living on a few people in town that care about their car.
I'm sure hers is off Wi-Fi too. Your mom's.
That's right. But are you getting that call from the few people in town that care about their car? Affordable debt removal. Hey, there's Joel. I see Joel. I think.
Wait, yeah, I agree with what you say. You can't make a living on.
Thanks for letting me join. Lost with.
If you got 6 million people to pick from, then you're going to have a higher percentage of those.
Make sure that was okay, babe.
If you got 100,000 people, then your percentage of those calls drops tremendously.
Well, do you got an AdWords account going, David?
Do what?
Do you have an AdWords account going?
No, I don't, and that's something I was trying to talk to Gene Fetty about that yesterday.
David. All right, it's really simple, right? The Google made up the internet, right? Pretty much.
Right.
Okay. Everybody from Yelp to anybody gets their info from Google.
The floor's still wet.
All you have to do is put yourself in Google as a business. And you don't have to worry about paying a lot of money, because if you're one of the few guys in town, you'll show up in the searches, because they're in the business of showing people's businesses, not necessarily showing the people who pay the most.
Right.
Because if there's 3 people in your area and keywords that grandpa and grandma typed into their computer and you don't come up, and the guy that is paying for AdWords comes up, you're not going to get the call. But when he is spent out, you will show up. So when you sign up for AdWords, don't pay all the money that a lot of these guys are paying for the words dent repair, dent removal. Pay the lowest for it, because if you're one of the few guys in the area, you'll show up more times than the guys that are paying $1.50 a click.
Well, see, that's the as far as the AdWords around here. I dominate Google and Bing and Yahoo. I mean, you Google dent repair for Lawton, Oklahoma. I really do.
Oh, good.
I dominate it.
I just Googled it and it came up denture repair. Just saying, man.
Denture repair.
I think there's more need for that out there than dents right now. You ever get that?
I actually got a call years ago when I used to drag a trailer around that had my business name on it. I actually had a call from a lady one day, and of course it was somebody wanting a freebie, but they said a lady in her church, and it really needed some denture repair.
Let's see, Charlotte population around 900K. We see about 10 to 20 calls a day. Surprising, lots of folks know about PDR. Well, that's good. That's a lot of calls.
That's awesome. What are they doing to get those calls?
Yeah. Does anybody else want to? Oh, here's another guy coming on live right now.
Because he's talking.
I mean, I get phone calls during the day.
Hey, that's Ray.
What's up, Sal?
Hola.
1 or 2 calls a day of Veronica, your
Get down.
credit specialist or whatever.
Get down. Get down.
I get people, wanting to know if I can diagnose what's wrong with their car. I get the ones, that the tree's falling on their car and they need an estimate.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think there's a difference between a route tech and a hail tech?
Yes.
There's a big difference.
Big difference.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about.
Variables.
Yeah.
It depends on where they're located at. You take somebody that lives in Oklahoma or Texas or even Missouri where it hails a lot. There's some pretty good combo techs, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah. No, I could see that. But
Sal, if I was a route tech and you sent me jobs, they would be washed, ready, clean, and delivered out front of John's Auto Body by next Thursday. I promise you. They would not see any of my tools on there.
Well, I mean, to me, there's like this divergence in our industry that's kind of, I don't know. It's more stark now than I thought. You know, I thought a lot of us were kind of the same, but it's no way. It's I'm working on different stuff than you guys are working on, but that's okay. It's just,
well, you're going to be on a car for sometimes 8 or more hours, and so will we. But you're going to be on one panel, and we're going to be all over it.
And I think a lot of guys,
unless we suck, we'll be on one panel for 8 hours.
That's such a big difference, you know. But I think it's also how the repair is approached, you know. So I mean, to me right now, I just I kind of feel like it's important to, in regards to training and instruction, you know, if you want to be a hail guy, go to a hail guy for training.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a route guy, go to a route guy. If you want to do extreme dents, go to. But the whole idea that one guy does it all, it's hurting.
Well, it got us to where we are now, but there is this growing divide on. So you've really got 3 sections, in my opinion. You've got the hail circuit, which can be divided up into guys that succeed more in wholesale, retail, or body shop. Then you've got the route technician, which is wholesale, body shop, and retail. But then you've got those big smash guys like yourself and Paul and Bryce and Derek Yost. He's a pretty good tech. You know, you've got almost the open market because nobody else, not that nobody else can do it, but it's a totally different.
Well, so that's what I'm trying to build around here. The past year or so, I've been taking on a lot bigger jobs than what I used to.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me right now, it's like I think about how long I'm going to be doing this. I mean, I'm sure we all are. How long we got? Another
What's up, Ray Cruz?
10 years, 20 years, 15 years. But
yeah, well, I hope to build my business to where in 20 years, 15 years, I've got something to sell. You know, and that's something that the route guys don't have.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. No, you definitely with a route.
That is true.
You have to almost replace yourself, and that's hard to do.
I mean,
if you're a route guy, that's still sellable. If you've been doing it that long, I guarantee you've got a client base. Yeah. You know, you've got guys that are repeat customers. It might not be a tangible item, but it's probably something you could show by, if you sell your company and in your contract, you just say, hey, I'm going to sell it and I'm going to stay on for X amount of time also as an employee. I think you can still sell it.
Yeah, I think, some businesses will sell like that, but those businesses have a bigger failure rate, though.
Which ones?
Than the mobile route type businesses that are sold. Seems like everyone I've seen is sold. As far as like bumper repair, paint touch up, and stuff. They've just ain't none of them ever succeeded.
Well, I think anybody in PDR that really wants to succeed, I think you have a better chance of succeeding if you do just PDR. Yes. I heard somebody say a long time ago, if you see a dent guy going into window tinting and detailing, that he thought it was a sign of they were struggling. And back then he was probably right. Right now, I think guys do it for added income. But I can tell you, if you do just PDR, this is my opinion, and you have a brick and mortar building, I think you have a better chance of succeeding than the route guys. But like Sal, he doesn't have a retail shop, so it's not across the board. But I think overall your chances are better.
Retail shop is in my future, but I definitely think I can get more money because you know how it is. I remember when I used to work with dealers, they would tell me, when the cars are up in the air and all the mechanics are in the back, that means you're really slow. That's what they told me. So it's the same thing with the shop. I mean, when people come to your location and they see no cars and then they want an estimate, it's really hard to get top dollar for them unless you have a completely full lot. So that's where I'm different, because they're meeting up with me at some house somewhere that they see the car I'm working on. They really feel like, okay, this guy's busy. It changes the dynamic completely when you're giving an estimate, especially when you can look down at your schedule. They're not walking into a waiting room where no one's there. I mean, it's totally different. I'm sure I'll do well in a retail shop, but I think the pricing is better when you're a mobile service, because you save people so much time because you're driving to them. It's a huge luxury. I take advantage of that, but maybe it's where I'm at. I don't know.
I don't know.
You got to be confident too.
Yeah.
To me,
You got to be prepared to say no.
I think people would flip out if they walked out of their house and they seen that you had their hood off their car or their door off their car. And
No way.
Well, hey, I'm gonna interrupt here for a second. I want to get somebody else on here to talk for a while too. Yep. So, David, you had some really good content. Are you cool with bouncing for a little bit?
Oh yeah. My phone's actually
all right,
telling me it's about to go dead, so I need to search down a charger anyway.
All right, it's got a little kick button, so I'm gonna kick you. It was good talking to you, buddy.
Okay, yeah.
All right, see ya. All right, Sal, who do you want to bring on here? Is anybody in particular?
Sorry, guys, I was eating.
Huh? I know. Watching Ray eat the whole
I know.
time.
I'm done eating.
Ray, me and Ray are best friends, and I hate him. So he's been in South America for 3 months, living the life.
Hold on, let me show you this.
I'm gonna look down here and see if I can see. Wow, there's a lot of guys. Corey, Scott, Ray. Look at all these guys.
Yeah, we got 23 people in here. Let's
Oh, here's a question from what percentage of people do you
let's bring Pivot PDR in there.
Actually know what PDR is? You know,
well, I'm lucky.
Not many.
I'm in St. Louis. Dent Wizard is here. They've educated the public here. Everybody here knows what PDR is. So it depends on.
Do they know what size dent could be done? You know, that's where you wonder how far the industry is right now at that.
Well, that's a good question. And this app here, that's going to help you, because we can get all these people that are non-PDR related in here that are seeing this and ask them, hey, if you're on here, what do you know about paint and dent repair? You know, you can get some feedback, but I don't know. Well, people that I talk to are body shops, and they know what it is. I don't do a lot of retail.
And I think that depends on the market too. Who's fixing the big stuff in certain markets? You know what I mean? I mean, in St. Louis, they all might know what paint and dent repair is, but if nobody's fixing the big shit, then they might not think it's possible.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's why, I mean, to me, when people say, I don't think there's a lot of work around here, you just got to ask yourself, is there a body shop bonded with painting a big dent that you could do or somebody could do? If that's still happening, you still got work. But how?
Well, here, I'm a dent guy. 5-6 years ago, if I would have got a big hit on my door, I would have looked at it. I would have been like, that sucks. I told body shops, nope, you can't fix that kind of stuff. But we educating ourselves right now. So if we're just getting educated on what can be done, then there's no way the public are ahead of us at all. So they don't know yet.
That's true. I mean, that's kind of where I see the divergence, really, that in a way it has to be separated a little bit, hail from route techs as far as, I don't know, because hail techs don't do this stuff. And I don't do what you guys do. So at some point, you can see where there has to be this divergence. You have to go in two different directions as far as opening it up. Right now, there's so much focus on hail. Unfortunately, I think big dents have been kind of drowned down a little bit. And I'd like to see it go more towards larger damage, but a lot of the social media and a lot of the industry is still looking at there's still hail. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Booger.
I've been in it long enough where I really think it needs to be a little more focused on one thing and a separate area.
You know what? I have been seeing a lot of videos and before and afters of big smashes on social media. So it's funny, like you started posting some of your big repairs, and I think other guys are following suit. So I think it's educating other PDR guys out there that some of this big stuff is possible. Maybe it's pushing them to try bigger stuff, you know?
Well, which brings us to a different scenario. That big dent smash competition that we were talking about, right? And we've been talking about that more now. Okay, you got a couple. Think about that. Everybody's looking at that saying, we don't need that for TE, or there's not going to be any variables that you control, you know. But forget all that for a minute. If you go into this and say, we understand the variables will be different, you know, there's not going to be the same damage, but we're going to judge the dent repair final, you know, the final repair, and we're going to judge how bad the damage was to begin with. Does that make sense? And use that as a.
I think so. Well, I mean, I look at it.
But by doing that, by having that competition down there, forget who won. I mean, the winner is going to be excited, and they should be. But the big draw is a full day of 4, 6, or 8 guys in that room working on smashed panels with 2,000 PDR guys watching that and learning, and then they take that out to their market and start spreading the word. So that competition is more than a competition. That could be a leapfrog and help spreading the word of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important.
That's all I'm thinking about. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, you know, kind of in control of the shows, and that's okay. But at some point, you can tell it's not geared toward big damage. And if our industry needs that, why not at least leapfrog into that area? That's why I think there kind of needs to be this divergence where, I mean, that's things I'm trying to spearhead a little bit, and maybe yourself as well. It's just we've got to start pointing in towards larger damage awareness, getting the right text, you know, to show.
Yeah, but how do you do that? How do you try to go to these and go out there and say, hey, all this larger damage can be done, right? And we know it can be done. Yeah. But then you turn around and say, how many guys can actually do it?
No,
you know,
no, that's not the question you want to ask. It's how many guys want to learn how to do it and want to start focusing on that, as opposed to how many guys can do it. Because I think that's the problem right now. There's so many people focused on, you know, so many things. It gets confusing out there. And that's kind of where I want to kind of narrow the focus, find the people that are doing it now. What are they doing? That's important. What are they doing? Not necessarily can they do it, but what are they doing? And kind of spread the word based on that. And then,
so the PDR college seminar, were they teaching them how to fix those big dents down there, or was it just more of a display?
I mean, I felt like my presentation was teaching them because, I mean,
is that what it was designed to do? Did they say, hey, we want to come down here and teach them how to do this? Or was it like...
No, it absolutely was that, because it wasn't a place that you could kind of fake it. I mean, you had 60 highly experienced people, some of them great, fantastic technicians staring right at you. You can't fake it. You either can do what you say or you can't. And so many people came up to me and they said, look, I didn't know about this way of doing it. All I know was this. And then when you look at the sources of where they were taught, the people that are teaching them, they can't do it either. So you kind of wonder why is big dents being taught by, I don't know, a hail technician?
Hail guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where, to me, the divergence has to happen. Hail guys, stop talking like you can do large damage. And I won't talk like I can do large hail damage I'm not going to talk like that, and I don't. But
it's two different things
don't
altogether.
Don't be a hail guy talking about large damage. Is because
I'll be the first to say I cannot fix big damage.
There you go.
My creases look like a stitch from the Vietnam War. It's about this long, and there's just 2 pushes along all the way side, and there's this crevice down the center, and I tell them that's as good as it's going to get. We can wet sand it and buff it if you want some black spots.
Because
on the side,
honestly,
but no.
Honestly, that's how it could grow, is when it's honest. I mean, just straight up honest. don't try and candy coat it and say, well, I can do both and I can, but I'll never show you my work.
So when are you going to do it? So what I'm seeing here is Sal, you brought yourself to the forefront. You and as a big dent expert, obviously, have you ever considered having a secondary training? Or let me ask you this first: would a guy that wants to do big damage, would he be better off getting trained right out of the gate to do that, or would he be better off going to a basic PDR curriculum class like has been done in the past, and then seek out advanced training on big damage?
No. The problem is that it all.
These guys are making great points down here.
Who is actually training you? If you're talking to a guy who says, "Oh yeah, I could train you on big damage all day. I do it in used car lots all day." Do you want to learn big damage from a guy who does used car lots all day? No, because that is not retail quality repair. If he was doing retail quality repair, he wouldn't be in used car lots.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Right.
You've got to look at the source of who's training you. Very simple.
So is anybody doing that, Sal? Does anybody have a big dent training facility? Because that seems like if we're going there, I mean, if all these indicators are, everybody's showing their big dents now. You got the promise of a big dent competition coming to Florida,
What's up, Sal?
which may or may not happen this year, but it could happen soon. All these, you're going to have more and more interest in that. Do you see a company coming out of these ashes that focus on training that? And is it worth it? Is it worth their time?
That'd be
if they're
a great
making
idea.
that kind of money, if they're already making that kind of money pushing dents, is it worth it to take possibly a hit, or is the price of that training going to be a lot higher than your typical training?
I think it comes down to where they want to work. And most people, I talk to a lot of guys, I'm in contact with them constantly, almost too much.
What's up, Gene?
What's up, Brian?
They want to do hometown work. They want to work in their hometown. And the problem is they're not able to sometimes get the best dollar amount for what they're doing. So if you talk to them and ask them a few questions, all right, so what are you doing, to do this larger damage? It always comes up. Same thing always comes up. Well, I've never taken a glass out before, but I'm trying to tackle large damage. Or when I do large damage, I'm one of the few guys to do it. Can I see your work? You never see it. So the problem is they're not doing it clean enough to just really. What happens in retail large damage, I'll just tell you real quick what happens, is word spreads like you would not believe. Whenever you have damage that you're working on in someone's driveway, you almost can guarantee that the neighbors across the street are going to come over and look at it because something happened to their neighbor's car, right? Well, each of those neighbors have a car that they're hiding in their garage. I guarantee it. And one of those guys has a dent on one of those cars. What happens is those neighbors will come over and say hi to you, but they're not going to, say much. It's when you leave. Yeah. That's when they come and they want to see how that big damage turned out. If it didn't turn out well, you're not going to get their call, and your referrals don't grow, and you find yourself slow, and you kind of go, oh, retail kind of sucks. If you're a guy that's glassing it, just straight up glassing it, you have a talent, you can do it, you'd be surprised what happens. All of a sudden, you get that one call, hey, you did my friends across the street, I look at your work, great work. I have this car I'm really, particular about. You get those jobs and you get big money for them because they want you and you kind of know it. But if you're just kind of lumpy, bumpy, kind of making it look, like it's good enough, you're just not going to get the referral. So to me, it comes down to how much the quality of your work is selling for you when you're gone, when you're not there. Mm-hmm. And I always just basically try and keep it simple. If you think
so, how long into your PDR career, Sal? I mean, looking at what you do now, and then go back to when you started. if you had focused on this damage when you began, how long into your career would you have been able to do the quality of repairs you're doing right now?
Well,
5 years?
It was more like 6 to 7.
Yeah, but did you focus on big damage right out of the gate?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then what do you do? What do you tell those guys that want to do this, that are new, but they've got to struggle for 5 or 6 years to get to the point where they can do that damage?
Well, that's an easy question to answer. Thank you for asking it.
Good.
I ask that all the time, and it's amazing what I hear. I talk to guys that think that they can put steel on steel. Sorry, that's not what I do, and that's not what a lot of guys do, is push out large damage with steel on steel. Just, I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's a hail thing where you guys are just pushing out a bunch of. You can't do that with large extreme damage. You've got to come up kind of passive and come up soft. You know,
definitely has to be a different approach.
Yeah, I mean, Gene is learning that right now. It's not what a lot of people are teaching out there. You got to come up fairly passive when you're pushing, and that's passive, meaning you got to have a little soft cushion. But you talk to a lot of guys, and they still quite get that. They want to still go after it, steel on steel. I definitely see where the problems are. But if you talk to people that are teaching it, they don't believe that. It's still just a matter of doing it the old way. So that's kind of my mission, is to try and teach people that it's not that hard to get a little soft push going on, but directionally. That's the main thing. You don't want to chop things up into 10 different pieces and then have to get inside that low to that low to that low. You just want to come up with it very strong, nice, soft. It pushes, bring up a big section. And it's training. I know it's training, but it's difficult when so many people are talking and they don't actually know how to do it, but they're talking. And that's kind of my thing, is I think there's a divergence that has to happen, where there has to be a forum where guys that are doing big dents are teaching other guys how to do big dents. But if there's forums where there's guys that aren't doing big dents but can talk like they are, that's the problem, is you have confusion. And newbies are like, so which way, who do I listen to? You just got to go by the source. Look for the people that are doing it. Try and follow them. But you got to ask for proof too.
Yeah, so that PDR college class down in Florida, that's a great place to go for guys to really be able to see it firsthand, isn't it?
Oh, that was so. I just fixed a job on Friday. So I went to the class. I just did a job on Friday. I messaged Sal about it. And watching Sal work and picking up some of his tips and tricks allowed me. I probably would have got the job eventually using my old knowledge, but the stuff I picked up in the class let me do it cleaner, faster. Like it was just watching you work, Sal, and watching Bryce work, and how balanced and clean you guys keep everything. I've been going after big smashes for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Changing that mindset to
balance.
Get it cleaner is right. The balance, right? It's. Yeah, I gotta get my West
I'll tell you what,
mind going.
Certain people, they're just honest, sometimes to a fault, right?
Yeah.
And we all know Tony Frazier. He can be brutally honest, and if he doesn't like you, you know it. But one thing he is he's fair. If he's wrong, which isn't a lot, but he's fair, and I know Sal and Tony way back in the Doerding days, they went round and round. But I saw him say that watching the bottom of that dent come up that you fixed on that fender was impressive.
Oh, that was crazy.
That
was crazy.
And I wasn't there. I had a booth.
He said it was awesome. I got to correct.
Okay, awesome. Hey, you know what? Okay, from Tony, that's impressive.
To get that out of Tony, that's not easy. I'll take that.
But so when a guy like Tony says it, and Tony's a good PDR guy. So, I mean, that class down there, that had to be a good thing. But other than that, where would a guy go? Like Chris Round, he's on here. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but if he might even be able to do big damage. I'm just using him as an example. Where would he go if he woke up one morning and said, you know what, I've got a good business here, but I want to take it to the next level? Does he have options to go get training? Where would he go?
On bigger stuff?
He could hire me.
Yeah, on big stuff.
Yeah, he could hire me. I mean,
you do that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I didn't know that. I'm not plugging you either. I did not know that.
Well, I offer training to only advanced techs because what happens with training is, you know, you can really easily take people's money. It's not fair. Literally, they can come out to see you. They can razzle dazzle you. I can razzle dazzle you for 3 or 4 days, and you're like, oh wow, oh, that was awesome. That's 4 months later. You're like, what did he do? I mean, what would he? I mean, you're lost. So, and I took your money. It's crazy one-on-one training. It could go either way, but bottom line.
So how do you do that? Do you have a shop you take them to? And
what I'm saying is you have to work with people that are already trained in hitting their mark.
Right.
So when I say, hey, look, you know, see that spot right there? We're gonna go for that next. All right, hit it. And if they're like fumbling around trying to hit it and they kind of make the dent worse, it's really a waste of time. So they have to be more intermediate, advanced technicians to hit those marks. But so you can.
So you do have to be doing this for a while. These are guys that have been trained. You won't take a newbie under your wing and train them to do that.
Well,
like a guy that just came out of a body shop and said, "Hey, I want to do PDR." He finds you online, doesn't even own a tool, and wants you to train him. Do you do that?
No way.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You could just take their money, and I don't want to do that because I've done that. I did that for many years. It's just not what I'm into. A lot of guys still do that. They'll just take the money and say, hey, you know, and I'm sure the training is great, but it's not what you think. It really, bottom line for me, this is the way I train people is, look, you've got to be able to find your point in the reflection with no reflectors. Literally just look into the reflection and make sure you can find your point. So you're looking 90 degrees into the reflection. Because if you put a board out in the distance or a line board or whatever it is, you're at 50 degrees, 40 degrees, whatever it is.
You're going to miss your mark.
You're going to, well, what happens when you push behind the panel as it flexes, it starts, you start sliding around. And as you start to slide, sometimes you know how it is, you have to almost kind of slide into a low spot because as you push, you start to move a little bit. Well, what happens is guys see the high spots on both sides rising and they feel like, am I there? Am I there? So what I teach is something totally different. If you look into the reflection and just study reflection, it won't lie to you. It will tell you exactly where you're at. And you study that first. So I tell people that are trying to learn damage and trying to learn PDRs, you should study that first. And then when you can get really good at that, I'm glad that you can.
Yeah, that's my take on big dents. Is if you can't work at an orange peel level, you can't fix big dents because that's where the finish work comes in.
That's a good
is
point.
Being able to dial, like if you can't work at that level, you can't finish a big dent. You're not going to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even worse, you get to the orange peel level, but you have 4 really bad high spots you put in because at the very beginning of the dent, you started out so sharp,
right,
that in the end, you have something there that is just not going away. If that's the case, then you have to go back to how you started it. And that's where it's just the discipline of slowing down and preparing your tool and preparing whatever the movement is going to be. But that's not taught these days that much. So that's
do you turn guys away if a guy comes to you that has the background that you need, but you don't see a passion in him because you're passionate about what you do? And I think one thing I've noticed about all the guys that do the bigger damage, they're also passionate. They're not just in there complaining another big quarter panel smash. Yeah. They love doing it. They're proud of it.
Sure. And
they're passionate. So do you look at someone that comes in and goes, man, I'm tired of doing these dealer dents. I want to do big damage. Do you say, you just, you're in it for just the money? Or if you're not passionate enough, do you pick and choose who you train?
Yeah, I do. I think it comes down to whether they follow that very first video I have that shows them how to study natural reflection. I mean, I met one guy, he studied it hard. And then he came out to see me here and he knew his stuff. So he was serious. But if I never hear from him again, it's kind of a good thing. So I always tell people, spend $35, buy that first video, and practice natural reflection. And when you get good at it, then call me back. If they don't call me back, then I know they're not serious. They're looking for some kind of magic tool or some kind of magic that they don't understand. Yeah.
Well, hey, I got a couple more questions.
Yeah.
How many guys? And then I'm gonna open it up to get some other guys on here that might want to ask you some questions. But how many guys do you train a year on average?
Probably just three or four guys.
Okay.
I'm not into training because you can make so much more money not training and just fixing dents.
Yeah, it's not cost effective for you.
No, not at all. And that's why you kind of wonder, why is a person training? Really, why are they training? If it's for money, then you got to ask, well, if you're training me to make big money doing what I'm doing, how come you're not making big money right now? You know, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like, why are you training? So that's the way I look at it. I like to come home and do my thing and like my private time. I don't want somebody hanging out in my truck for 3 days. But
if I came out there and trained with you, can I stay at your place?
Yeah. I got some extra rooms now. All the kids are
I'll
gone.
sleep in the garage. Hey, so I want to get somebody else on here to talk to you. We need a volunteer to go bye-bye.
I'm going to go bye-bye. I got to go.
All right.
Hey, good seeing you, Ray.
Good seeing you. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
It's good seeing you guys, too. All right, guys. See you.
I got to get some Amazon stuff, man. That was awesome.
Maybe I'll post some more pics.
Yeah, piranha for dinner one night.
Good. That tasted so good, too. All right,
That's
I'll let
awesome.
you guys go.
See you, brother. See you in a couple weeks.
See you, Ray.
Later, guys.
All right, Christopher Din 4
Hey,
asks,
Matt.
come on in. Chris Norden. Chris, you're a hail guy. I want a door dinger that has questions for Sal. Somebody that can actually benefit from him being here and spending his time.
Preaching.
Anybody out there?
Oh, Gene, that said that.
Yeah. I don't remember what you were saying, but it was it made sense.
Someone asked one of the body shops if they had a good spoon guy. Definitely knew something. Spoon guy.
Big spoon guy.
I get a lot of that too, where a lot of guys are still under the impression that it's going to be this special tip, you know?
All right, I'm going to add Chris. We're going to limit each guy to 5 minutes. That way we have more time to get a few more guys on here. Because radio is Chris Norton. Hey, what's up, Radio?
What's up?
How you
What's
doing
up, Chris?
there, sunshine?
I'm actually
Hey, Chris.
I'm actually working on the dent.
Are you?
So anyway, is Sal still here?
Yeah, he's here.
So
Hi, Chris.
what's up, Gene? How's it going, Sal?
What's up, buddy?
I am primarily a hell guy, but I would think Anson would verify this if he's still in the room. I love big damage is just very, very interesting to me, and it's completely different than what I was trained to do. And I've done a couple of big dents, and I think I sent Gene some of the pictures from that.
Yeah, I saw it. It was nice work.
And
Yep,
but I mean,
absolutely.
it takes me a lot of time to do it just because it's not what I'm used to. What kind of like if you have somebody come out for training, you were talking about that. Like how long, how many days do you spend with them? What kind of follow up is there? And do you charge the same thing to every person, or is there a price range, or how do you come by figuring out what you charge to do that?
I used to make $800 a day on the average. Now I kind of make more. So I kept it at 800. I figured if I just keep it the same, then it's pretty fair. So it's $800 a day. And for an advanced tech, it only takes about 2 to 3 days to get something in their head that I just need to tell you. Is there something that you gotta, if I explain it to you, you'll totally get it. But it has to be based on what we're looking at in the reflection. It's the way I teach.
Right on.
And when you see it and you get it, it's funny. You'll probably say, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
It's really that straightforward. It'll blow you away. but I can't get a lot of guys to even think that way that are working line boards or LED lights or anything like that. You got to get away from that first and understand the natural first. When you understand the natural, then you can use LEDs and lights and anything. But
whatever.
if you're stuck on an LED, it's kind of like there's an illusion you got to know about that if I explain it to you, you'll totally get it. And it's like Gene right now. If I explain to him in 2 or 3 days what I really need to explain to him, he'll totally get it.
All right, I'm going to go get my plane ticket out.
Well, I mean, I see you working with a piece of PVC pipe, right? Sometimes.
Well, what it is, essentially what I do, it's pretty straightforward, is I just look into the reflection behind me, right? Over there. And then that's a vertical line, and there's a horizontal line right there. And that's all I do is I look into the dent and I line up all kinds of lines behind me. And that's the true way to know what's going on in the dent. If you happen to put an LED light in front of you, it creates these great, almost looks like the moon. They look so alluring. You kind of want to go in there and start pushing.
Want to hit them.
And that's the false illusion. Because it's like somebody showing you, like if I showed you this phone just right, it looked like this little blue line until I kind of went on the side. Dents are all about illusions. They have all kinds of crazy things that'll fool you. And you got to have somebody there to show you that, wait a minute, right there, you're going to go for that one? Yeah, it looks good. I love that low. I'm going to go. The tool I'm using is all ready. Can I go for it? And I'd stop you and say, hold on. Look at it from this side. Look at it from this side.
What up,
and then
Ray?
you understand. There's a certain way to look at it before you push, and that could change your access. So there's a lot to learn, but it's a discipline that I teach, and if you get it, you won't go away from it. It works.
Huh. That's intriguing for sure.
So I can back that up. Getting to see Sal work in person at the advanced seminar in Florida was really mind opening. Like you're sort of sitting there and I'm like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Like it's a mindset shift. And I saw just that little taste, those few hours I got to see it work. I could see that. So a couple of days with you one-on-one for somebody at the right level, that would be a game changer.
Yeah, to me,
without a doubt.
A lot of the guys that are online, to me, I just judge people by their work, honestly, really. I mean, we're all talking and typing words, but honestly, it really comes down to your work. Can you show it? And from what I've seen with Gene, you're at the perfect level for 2 days, and you'll get it. There's just like this little tuning in that once I get you to do a certain thing.
It's the hard close right here.
Hey, let me take a break here. We got 28 guys watching here. While you guys are here, hold on a second, Chris. Click on our names. And once you click on our name, in fact, I'm going to click on Sal right now and then hit follow. If you hit follow, because when you're in this app, I'm going to remind everybody, there is absolutely no way to search for Sal or Gene or Chris or myself. You have to be following them. And then if Sal goes online, he will notify his followers, or he can preempt it by creating a scheduled event and posting that link. So if you want to see Sal or Gene or Chris or anybody in here, any of those icons, hit on all of them. And that way we can start building up a network of PDR guys like we have in the other apps.
Nice.
Are you done?
Yeah. I got a kick button right here, buddy. I love you, though.
Hey, no.
Me and Chris are going to be working a lot together this year. Go ahead, bud.
I just want to say thanks for the time, and I'll talk to you more later, Sal.
Okay.
Through Facebook.
Sure.
And you can let somebody else have my spot.
All right.
Hey, Chris, good talking to you. And hey, buddy, while you're here, I have your box of stuff going out tomorrow. All right.
Okay, cool. Hey, if just real quick, if I need to pay for extra postage or whatever to make sure that gets here, we're moving Saturday. So.
No, it'll be there. It'll be there before then. I always get two days. I hate for it to be lost in the mail.
Right. All right. Thanks.
All right. See you, buddy.
Later.
Here.
Thanks. All right. So Who else do we want? Let's bring in Paul Kordon.
Paul.
He's on here.
Oh, Mr. Kordon.
Big Dent Tools.
Paul's funny.
Paul's awesome. There he is right there.
I love Paul. Great dude.
Here it comes.
Big Dent.
Can you guys hear me?
So I
Yep,
can get
perfect.
the stomping in my PK1. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, gentlemen. I didn't know I was going to be on tonight.
Kids are gonna put him.
Yeah,
I know his-
he's got his mascara on. He's lying.
I got the babies in bed, so
Really?
it's
Oh,
just me
nice.
and two of the older ones.
God, I envy you
Hey.
guys with the little kids, man. That's so awesome.
Hey, while you guys are here, trust me, this is a good conversation, but I want to make sure this app really spreads like wildfire. Flyer on the bottom, on that little menu button, if you hit it and it pulls up a window, there's a little share icon, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody that's listening can do it. You should click on that share icon, and it copies the link to this to your clipboard, and you can post that on your Facebook page or in the groups, and it's going to get more PDR guys. Granted, your aunt and your uncle might see it, but we're going to try to build a network here. And
Okay.
then also, when this is over, that link you have right there, you can watch it later.
You have to ask for it.
You can save it.
So,
Is that Nicole?
oh, no, it was one of my teenagers was saying, "Hey, can you give me a shout out for my Instagram account so people will follow it?"
Yo, what's up?
I said,
Follow
"No,
me,
you have to be
Gangster
on. You have to
Kordon."
be on the video if you
Hey,
want to
hey,
ask for it."
Paul, if you double tap the screen, it'll flip the camera on you.
I don't
You
think
ready?
it will.
Hey, they
I
said you
don't
can do
think
it.
will
Do you
on
want to
this.
do it? Oh no, she's too shy. Too bad she's not getting a plug if she doesn't want to do the work. So
That's right. I don't think
That's
you can
right.
flip the screen here.
tough
Can you,
love.
Yeah,
buddy.
you can.
Pardon me?
Yeah, you
So
totally
tap
can.
my screen?
Yeah, you can flip camera.
Oh,
Yep, see?
darn. See, we're
Look at
learning.
Oh my gosh. Your teenagers are not gonna leave you alone.
Paul has
Oh, my
18
goodness.
kids.
5. Count them. 1, 2, 3,
18.
4. 4 girls, 1 boy.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But hey, it's cool to be with you guys, man. Hey Sal, hey Gene, hey Ryan.
What's going on, Paul? How are you, buddy?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Looking
What,
forward
what
to
do you
getting
think
started.
about this app so far?
I dig it, man. I think it's really cool. I mean, the interaction between the technicians and then the PDR chat.
Somebody's
Of
fading
course,
out.
on dry, and
Yeah, it looks like I think it's
it's
Paul.
like it's never night there. I mean, it's always sunshine and unicorns and roses in San Diego, right? No, wait, not San Diego. San Diego, right?
No,
San Francisco.
San Mateo.
Where's Sal?
San Francisco. I'm about 50.
Oh, San Francisco. San Francisco. Sorry, man. I get it all mixed up. I'm an East Coast guy. It's tough.
No, I
Sorry.
saw something about you driving, and it was snow all over the place. You're around the snow a lot. You guys have snow?
No, not right now. I mean, we had that 3 feet of snow right before MTE, which was a nightmare. It took me 2 plane tickets to get to Florida and 2 plane tickets to get back.
Oh.
It was crazy.
Oh.
It was nutty. I should have just driven with Gene. That's what I should have.
I'm glad I got to fly.
I'll tell you.
You didn't end up.
He is such a whirlwind. It's so.
Paul's complete. Oh, there he is.
So
I thought Paul was
fast.
frozen.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's frozen.
It's like crazy.
Yep, got me now.
So I want something to last longer, but at the same time, I think apps like this will keep it going. Oh, here we go.
Oh, I think we lost Paul.
Paul, join back in. I kicked him out. Sometimes it's easier to do that to restart him up.
Hey, Gene, I got a question for
Okay.
you.
What's up, buddy?
Why did what's the testing for dents? What happened with the testing for dents?
You mean on
How come
PDR
there's
Nation?
No more testing.
Through you talking with PDR Nation?
Yeah, I mean, just creating damage, testing.
Well, the
tests.
problem with that, well, you tell him.
We're gonna,
The,
did that ever? Why didn't that work?
well, I think it was just logistics. Guys couldn't get the technology to work right. So we switched it from a requirement to an addition to your profile. So we call it video verified now. But there were so many guys who couldn't, just weren't able to follow the instructions. We thought we simplified the process far enough, and for the masses, it just wasn't simple enough.
I see.
So That's why we had to pull the plug on that. And to go to Vail when they can do 8 technicians a day, it's not feasible. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Like, it's just logistics is what it comes down to.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
I think it was logistics, and honestly, I think it's just general people were complaining about not having it for the longest time. And then once we finally took the time, and Gene spent a lot of time on it himself, we came up with a system. Nobody did it. I think we had, 20 or 30 guys out of 230 actually do it in a year's time.
Yeah.
So, if they're not doing it, and the guys that are complaining about it are the ones that didn't do it. So that at least gave us the strength to say, okay, we're going back to where we were. What you do day in and day out matters. And we realized that it was just guys bitching. Excuse my French. That's all they were doing. So we removed that. You don't see anybody complaining about it anymore, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we did it for them.
And you can still do it and verify if you want.
Yep.
If you want that extra badge on your profile to show that you did it, you're in. Just like Vail. That's why I went to Vail. I wanted to prove that to myself that I could do it. So.
Well, I mean, that's
kind
of what I was explaining.
You guys are going to invest in better routers.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Is it
Paul,
me?
get my book report ready?
Is that?
No, Sal fell off too.
Yeah, we'll wait for him to come back in here. So.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
you
I hear
sound
you
great.
good. So I see the difference in this between Periscope is going to be some quick shots. You go in there and you can show what you do, but I like this for talking and really getting a lot of this
interaction is
thick right
incredible.
Here. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
I think I'm going to upgrade my Wi-Fi connection this week. I don't know even what it is. I know there's different levels of internet you can get, and I'm going to upgrade it this week so my end doesn't cut out so much because my kids can't even get on Xbox.
Yeah, and it could just be your router, dude. Like just a better router might give you a big enough pipe to get it up there. Yeah. So I want to touch on something real quick that Sal was talking while he's coming back in. And it's a mindset shift. So you were asking him how do guys get into this work? What does it take to get there to do the bigger smashes? I think it takes a mindset shift where you need to be able to charge accordingly to put the time in to do the dent.
Yeah.
And what I mean there is if I look at a bedside and I say, man, it's going to be a tough one, and I put $300 on it, how long I can't put time into it. If I look at that same bedside and say, okay, if this goes to the body shop, it's going to be $1,000. Well, then it's $1,000 to repair your bedside.
Yeah.
And if I have to work on it for 7 or 8 hours,
there's a catch-22 though. So you get a guy that says $300, and when it should be $1,200, but can he do the work?
But can you put the time? So I've talked to multiple guys with that thing. I had a buddy. He bid a bedside at $300. And he calls me up and he goes, man, I couldn't fix it. And I'm like, the pictures you sent that didn't look that bad. I said, walk me through it. And I pull out my price guide. Thanks to my buddy Paul. And we go through it. And I said, man, I come up with $1,100. And he goes, if I charged $1,100, I probably could have spent the time on that to make that bedside right.
That makes sense.
I mean? It really comes down to it's a mindset shift.
It's cost effective again,
and you have to, right, and you have to be able to be willing to put the time in and be paid for your time. And if not, you're doing a disservice to everybody. You're going to do a disservice to yourself because you tried it and didn't charge.
A lot to yourself.
And you're doing a disservice to the customer because now they don't believe in PDR, and they have to go to the body shop and get their car painted. Or if they come to somebody who's willing to put the time in to make it happen, they can get the superior.
And everybody
repair.
sees that repair. You're going to call your insurance guy. Probably they're going to see that that was attempted by PDR. The body shop's going to know it was attempted by PDR. The body man and the painter. Yep. Everybody's going to see it rather than one happy customer who spreads the word.
Yeah. So on top of having to get your skill set, you need to have your business and sales mindset right as well to be able to pull this stuff off.
Complete package.
So
it's not just
exactly.
It's just not just can you fix the dent. You're saying it's a matter of understanding what you need to charge and how much time you need to invest to make it work
in order to be able to do it. Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely. Hey, I need 30 seconds. I got to go tuck my kids into bed and I'll be right back.
Okay. I might take turns with you when you're done. I might do that real quick.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Sal's phone died. He's charging it, so he'll be back in here.
Hey, did my screen go
I'll
black?
second exactly what Gene was saying. Can you hear me, Ryan? Everything all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah, so I'll absolutely second what Gene was saying. Where and I think really hail guys would understand this as well. Unless and that's why on the hail scene, the reason for cost versus time on the hail scene, the conversation is about, well, what is the quality level expected of the repair, and then how many cars and what is the scale of the damage. You can speak to this, Ryan, because what you're always doing is you're balancing the quality versus the cost, what I mean? Or the time investment versus the cost.
Is it worth it?
And I think that's right. And I think that question is true for, especially with big dents. I would imagine Sal would agree with this as well, but I don't want to speak for him, that there's something to be said for, I'm proud of that repair, and I'm glad I can put that notch on my bedpost about, or my belt about that dent repair. But at the end of the day, if you can't make enough money to be worth the investment of time that's going to go into that repair, then it just doesn't make sense. It's got to make sense. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it's crucial to get the pricing correct on the large damage, and that's where guys like Sal and and others are really leading the way, because, like I've said to many guys before, the reason insurance companies will go for a large number on a side panel repair, and in some cases, I'm even seeing insurance claims pay me more than a conventional repair, is because they don't know what to do with us on large damage on the sides, right? The insurance companies are completely lost. They trust us as the professionals, which is a great position to be in. However, we're not regulated by them yet, this is a very
I still
niche.
think the big variable, I know we've talked about it, but how many guys here, let me ask you a question real quick. And how many guys across the country do you think are out there that can fix the bigger damage that is 100% PDRable, but not by your common technician? Do you think there's more than 100 guys out there that can do that?
I think there's a lot of guys that could do it. It's just that they.
But do it. Do it now.
Well, I don't know if that's the way to look at it, really, because.
Well, if you're trying to get it mainstream for everybody to understand it, there has to be some sort of a base of guys that can do it to begin with. I mean, if there was 1,000 of them, that's a different less than 100. I think there needs to be a lot more interest geared up within ourselves first, and then trained before it's really going to gain any more traction out there outside of us.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. You're in your own bubble. I'm in my own bubble. Paul's in his own bubble. We're all kind of we all have a perspective of what we think is out there. I mean, of course, we know a lot of techs, and we've been around a lot of techs, but it really comes down to the focus. The focus really, it's more towards larger damage. You're going to get that shown to you. It's just whether you want to attack. A lot of guys are just not wanting to do it, or they are. It's just kind of they want to stay at home and they don't want to stay at home. It's tough. To me, that's the big divergence right now. You want to talk to people that are doing it now. You don't want to talk to people that are kind of poo-pooing it because, that's my winter work, or, you can't really get it. You want to stay away from those people. And there's a lot of them out there. Also, there's something that's happening that's kind of important to me. I'm seeing it more and more because I talk to so many guys every day. It's crazy. There's not a lot of instruction for large damage. There's instruction for glue pulling and having great gear, but you don't find a lot of guys getting instruction on how to actually get behind the dent, push it out. Yeah.
No, you got YouTube. You got
so
YouTube.
There is
what you've got.
You're right. There is a big, awareness that has to have amongst us, and then there's got to be guys doing it. But I think it's the first step is to find out who's doing it and show it. That's what all I'm trying to do with PDR videos is just find those guys, show what they can do, talk about what they're doing, and most importantly, talk about what they're really doing, not what some guys are talking about, what the techs are really doing in these big repairs. And in talking about it,
right,
that will help other guys say, oh wow, I didn't know that you had to do. They'll get the awareness just from listening and reading. But that's the problem right now is there needs to be, in my opinion, a divergence. There needs to, big dent guys have to go in this direction and hail guys need to keep going in their direction. But when you have the intermingling of hail guys talking about big dents and big dent guys talking about whatever, it's a little bit.
It's misinformation that's
spread too. You get a lot
too.
of these guys that are newbies that are kind of a little confused. They're hearing something from a guy, a hail guy, and they think, okay, well that's kind of the way to go. But the hail guy never shows big dents. I mean, never shows it. So.
Well, I think a big dent definition to a hail guy has a different definition than you or I think of when we think of, or Paul, like when we think of a big dent, like we're in for it. A big hail dent, is it fixed them bigger than softballs. Like that's a huge hail dent, but in comparison, it's nothing like that caved in tailgate where somebody backed into a tree, right?
Well,
like it's two different. It's two different repairs.
Well, there's something where these two, you say they need to be a separation. If the guy is not spreading misinformation, but is only giving his input, like if a hail guy is giving input on large damage and a guy like you, Sal, is giving input on hail, that's not a bad thing as long as you're not spreading bad information.
Happening.
If you're asking questions, that's a good thing. Because if you're just asking questions, you're like a microcosm of the public. So there's things that I don't know about big dents. So me asking questions could actually help you guys understand what people that don't understand what is fixable
I'll give you an
is
example.
and vice versa.
This
on
just
the
happened
hail.
today, and I mean, like I said before, I happen to be somebody that is contacted by a lot of texts constantly. I mean, it's in my messengers all the time. People are always asking me and just talking to me. And like what happened, I just saw, it was a post today. Ian Cordle put out a post in PDR videos. Just smashed quarter panel right around the wheel well. Just
that was nasty.
And
saw that.
At some point, somebody asked if the Cola Fria could work on a dent like that. Now, this is probably somebody, either he's a newbie, but do you see how it gets confusing? Because he's never pushed a dent out to know that there's no way. There's no way. Yeah, you're going to get that kind of pull action from Cola Fria on a dent like that. But will the guy spend $500 on that tool? Maybe. Maybe he's seen all kinds of hype on it. Maybe he'll spend the money. He gets it. But this is the trick. He's always going to be looking for the fast way to go because that's where the hype is. But the true reality is you got to work hard. You got to take things apart. You got to move that metal. And there seems to be this kind of fluff out there as to, oh yeah, just a couple of and it looks good enough, and they put the camera on there and they pull it away really quick. See, it works. After a while, you're kind of like, who's behind that quick camera pullaways and tools that are like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, who's behind that? So you want to follow people that are truly, truly showing their work. That's really, really important to me. And then find out what they're doing and possibly follow them. But if you never see their work, and they're posting all kinds of hype. You know, oh, look at this, look at this. After a while, you can see where it could go, get a little confusing. So that's why, to me, it's pretty simple. There needs to be a divergence.
Well, like Michael Bocek just commented, it's a good point. He said you go in there and you chew up the steak and spit out the bones. The problem is with too much information, you don't really know. Maybe you should start up a group just for Big Dent guys. But there's enough out there already.
No. It's pretty simple to me. You find the Big Dent guys who can do Paul Kordon, Gene Fetty, everybody who's involved in doing larger damage. That is very aware of what truly has to happen in some of this damage. And then when you have the other guys that come on, that kind of come up with the fluff, they will kind of be drowned out because those are the guys that don't show their work. And the guys like the Gene Fetty and Paul Kordons, they can show their work. Then it's the real stuff comes to the top. That's what I'm looking for. And you do that by identifying the guys first.
Right.
And those guys are the guys at least for right now, the Corey Fishers, the people that could show their work. That's all I'm looking for right now.
So, Anderson, I think it's Anderson A. Roberts 89. He asked what would be the primary motivator for checks to post their detailed before and afters. I think that's sort of how you can actually gain your credibility online. That video, like Sal's been preaching it for years, video shows everything. If you can make a big solid repair look good on video, you're doing something. Like that video is going to show you things you just don't see with your naked eye. So that's part of a way to build like street cred in the online world. We can't fly to Denver to look at your repair, but if you're constantly putting videos out there, so I was trying to keep up on the comments there.
But I think that's so important to realize is that we have in our industry right now a way to know what everybody's doing, and it happens to be video, and we're on it now. Anybody has a phone who's on Facebook can easily show their work. So you kind of wonder, why are they not showing their work? So it's pretty straightforward to me. You find the people who can show their work. You find the people that are doing a particular type of damage you want to do, and follow them and try and learn from them. You don't try and learn from people that are constantly hyping stuff, not showing their work, and just talking.
And you see them out there. Honestly, you see the guys. They're yak. And then you say, show me your work. What? Hold on, I got another call coming in. You know, they never, ever. Yeah.
Exactly. Our industry, think about it. We've been around since the 50s. And you wonder, why are there not more technicians working retail large damage? You wonder why.
Because it's hard.
Exactly.
Hard work.
Because it's really hard.
Exactly.
And when you learn how hard it is, when you actually take the time and put the hours in to bring a large or a severe dent to a retail quality level, then you start saying, I can't do this anymore unless I'm getting paid X dollars.
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
And it'll separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. There's space in this industry for dingers. There's space in the industry for
Keep going.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry.
There's space in the industry for dingers and hail guys and wholesale quality guys and retail quality guys. There's plenty of space, but if you're not going to spend that time on that damage to make it look good, and you won't unless you get the right money, because Sal, just as well as I do that, there are dents that'll come in and I'll put 6 hours straight into a dent if it's a large dent, and we've got to get paid a certain amount of money to be able to put that time into it. But it's hard work. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of time.
When I was first kind of talking about this, I was afraid to say 6 hours. You know why? Because there was somebody.
They're going to do the math.
I guarantee you, there was somebody who's going to say, "That's about a 2-hour job."
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
so here's how I cut my teeth. Right, all these new guys want to know.
What am I doing wrong? But then you showed your work at 6 hours, and the guy that said it for 2 hours, you never see his work.
Right.
And the more that happened, the more I realized this is just talk. No, that's okay. That's fine. I continue with my career. But then I started to see it impact technicians learning. That's where it kind of started thinking, how many guys am I talking to that can't necessarily fix this damage? What's going on here? Why are we struggling in retail and everybody's in wholesale? What's going on here? And sure enough, it always came down to the wrong information. Honestly, it's as simple as that. There's so much wrong information that you wonder, could it be that? And it's a possibility. It's just that, how do you stop that wrong information? You really can't. But at some point, there has to be divergence. Guys have got to go in that direction that are doing big damage. And then the people that want to do that will follow. And then guys that are doing hail or whatever they're doing, it's got to be kind of separated. To have it intermingled and try and do everything, where some guys are talking, some guys are talking. I think it gets confusing to newbies. And they're getting all their information online. So that's where I kind of feel like, all right, well, there needs to be a place that is strictly for one thing only. And it's Big Dents. That's what I go for. That's going to be Big Dents.
I would love to see a network of Big Dent guys. Really, like that's across the country. I mean, I think that would be awesome.
That's what I'm looking for. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You got to find those guys first.
Right.
And make sure that they can do it by their postings. And then when you find all those guys, that's when you're going to find the truth on how to do this big stuff. And all the guys that are talking and promoting just tools and whatever, they're going to kind of just at some point be guys promoting tools and not necessarily doing serious work. Because I consider myself a serious technician, and I want to see the trade be infused with more serious technicians. The problem I find is I find that
I heard somebody say something the other day.
Technician is a little confused, and they end up spending $10,000 here and $5,000 here, and you talk to them, and who did you go see? Well, he said he could do this, and they said they could do this. Like, they kind of get sidetracked, and you kind of wonder, gosh, if that guy, a serious, passionate technician, is now out of the business, and we get to keep the guy who's the talker and making the money and the dealer. Where's our industry really going?
Yeah.
I would rather find that passionate tech that wants to excel and be at the highest level. That's the guy I want. And in some way, social media he can find his way to point in that direction. That's kind of what I'm searching for right now.
Well, I heard a guy the other day say ideas are shit and execution is the game.
Yeah.
And I really like that. So, you and I talked a long time ago about, just doing it, just nothing to it but to do it on everything we did. What do you think the actual steps or the first step is needed to get it to the next level so that your big smashes? Because I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't do it. But I'm really interested in the PDR industry and your aspect of it. What do you think? Where do you begin?
I think is what I'm doing right now. I went on PDR videos. I'm going to spend more time there. And I'm just going to look for the best techs around. And if they're Argentina, Brazil, Florida, wherever it is, I'm going to find them.
Give me their number. I'll hire them. They work cheap, I heard. I'm kidding.
Because to me, I look at it this way. If there's a guy in Brazil who's doing tremendous work and he's not getting paid for it, it'd be nice to get him down to Florida and he can win a competition and make some big money. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're truly talented, I want to find you.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of good questions in the stream. Scott, one guy, I think Scott asked, how many big dents are you seeing in a week? And then another one is asking about a description of describe the size of a big dent. So I guess first question, what would you describe a big dent as? And I know this is this is like herding cats, right? But as a smash guy, as a big dent guy, at what point do you start to does it cross over from an average dent or a medium sized dent over into a big dent? What would your thoughts be on that?
Well, I think what happens to me is that I walk up to damage and I, kind of break it down in pieces, that. And then when all the pieces add up to, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that. Yeah, this is doable. And you just come up with, this is doable. But there are certain parts of dent that you're kind of like, ugh, never done that one before. And I always tell customers.
That nice pinched middle.
Yeah. So what happens then, you're kind of outside your comfort zone in that particular dent. But you've been there so many times, you can get through it. Because there's no like red flags like, coming up in your head, and this, Paul, it just sort of comes to you. Well, that's experience, that is experience. When I have people talk to me who are not experienced, who just kind of come up with off the top of their head of how they're going to go after it, I can tell because of what they said. And that's why it's so important to listen and talk to people who are truly, truly doing it, and then that kind of helps you get grounded with, oh, wow, that would be really hard. That's what I love PDR videos, because I'm asking the guys the questions as well. Hey, how'd you get that? And when they explain everything, it's like, I can see that being a problem. But when you're on these forums and guys are throwing it out, geez, that's just a glue pull in 2 hours. I get that done, no problem. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. All that does is tell the newbie that, God, that guy took 6 hours. This guy's staying 2 hours.
6 hour guy must suck.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, we got a guy in here that's not in the PDR business. I wonder how interesting it would be to get him up here and talk to him and pick his brain about the general perception of PDR from somebody that doesn't know what's going on.
I can bounce if you guys want.
Well,
you guys want to try that?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to ask basic public people questions,
Yeah, we can ask him questions.
I don't know.
Now we'll wait. I don't want to lose Paul. If we had a fifth one, then maybe.
Paul.
I love Paul.
Thanks, guys. Oh, bless.
We look like that. We look like that Sesame Street cartoon. Remember Sesame Street? Can you tell which one is doing his own thing? You got the three beards and then clean shaven Sal down there.
Yeah. Right. I love it. Yeah.
So I really appreciate this time with Sal, because we had dinner down in Florida, and we went to a Puerto Rican restaurant, but the music was so loud we couldn't hear each other. So we're making up for that lost time.
Yeah, time with Sal is good. He was bouncing the whole time. It's funny, when we left MTE, I seen him 4 or 5 times, and hey Sal, and then he's looking at me, and I'm over there. Well, see, what we do is you don't have time to talk. So on the last day, everybody left. I'm loading up. I got my trailer pulled up front by my tower. And there's Sal Contreras with Ian Cordell and Michael, Sal's son. I'm like, dude, you got a good picture. Just 5 minutes of talking away from the hustle and bustle is just so nice. So, it's good to be away from there.
That's a crazy busy show.
Mm-hmm, it really was. But I was just happy that the one person that I happened to see walking out was my old buddy. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun. I see you guys. It's important to see everybody. That once a year is that you kind of get their humor, the way they talk. Like I get Paul so much better now than before, because I get his humor. He's an older brother.
He's a real deal.
He's the oldest brother. He's the oldest brother guy.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And you kind of get people. Like Ryan, he's a crack up. I mean, he'll make you laugh. And Gene, he's serious.
I'm not serious.
Yeah, he is.
I just look serious.
He looks serious.
He looks serious, but he's not as serious as he looks.
No, I just like to have a good time, and I love dance. So probably.
I bet your towels. I'll bet your wife makes sure those towels are on the rack perfectly.
No, that's not me, man.
I know it's not. I'm kidding, buddy.
Sal, what size?
I'm like OCD with my network, but that's about it.
Dent guys. I'm just reading some of these questions. Sal, what
Yeah.
size would you categorize big dense guys? What size?
Like what
Sure.
size
Yeah,
dent? Nah, like what size dent are you looking at? And you're like, yep,
What's up,
that's a big.
Big Cruise?
Oh, there's Ray. Love you all. Love is in the air.
We love you, Ray.
Yes, it is.
I mean, what's happening to me lately is I don't know, and I just kind of feel this thing that's got to happen, and it's got to be this divergence, whatever you want to call it, where if you're doing big dents and you want to create an awareness about it and just kind of really promote it, then that's where I'm going. If you're a hail guy and you're kind of doing
Cut it out, buddy.
big dents, but yet you're a hail guy, I don't know you. I don't understand you, and I don't want to talk to you anymore. I just want to talk to the big dent guy.
Hey, Sal, I'm going to send this guy.
Hey,
out
unless
there
it hails in our town, then we don't want to talk to you. No, I'm kidding.
Great analogy. That's Paul, right? Yeah, great analogy, Paul Whitehorn.
Yeah, no, Paul is probably the combo guy they were talking about earlier. Is it? You get both. What you do, hail and big dents, pretty much every year, or hail is kind of hit and miss. Paul.
Oh, with me?
Yeah, I mean,
Paul Kordon?
are you considered like a combo guy that you can do hail and the big dents, or hail is something that's hidden?
I mean, I consider myself a combo guy because we see hail. I'll see either hail or acorn damage every year from either our area or surrounding areas that end up down in our area. So it's not. I mean, hail is not uncommon on an annual basis here, or at least seeing hail cars come through. But every fall, if we don't hit it in the hail season and we get a late fall thunderstorm, we'll end up with a lot of nut damage that is viewed as hail damage through the insurance company's eyes. So I do a lot more of it than I would imagine. I do a lot more of it.
And nut damage is no fun. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No, those little sharp bits in the bottom. Yeah,
and they all have a little scuff and a little oil mark and stuff. So yeah, I would consider myself both. We've been through a number of storms. I've probably been through six or 8 storms over my career that were just local, and then I've gone to do a little bit of hail abroad. Not much, but I'll do it all. Sal, I'll handle it.
Have you ever chased? Have you ever chased for a long time, Paul, or no?
I have not. No. Nope.
Yeah.
But it's always obviously it's tempting because you hear these high level hail guys and you go for the amount of time that you're putting in, you're turning the bigger numbers. But I honestly think that retail guys who are doing big stuff have the best chance of matching up similar dollars to hail guys. I wouldn't say that it's a guarantee, but I think they have the best shot. The Sals, the other guys who are doing big smashes for the right money, Gene, these guys, I'd imagine Bryce Kelly
I'll tell you the way it went for me as far as pricing. It was 300 to 500 a day was kind of the norm, and you were like, all right, 300 to 500, I'm there. And all of a sudden you started to really push it 600 or 700, and you're like, oh yeah, now I'm really doing it.
On hail?
No, doing dents,
Okay.
He doesn't do hail.
Well, I know.
It's a combination.
Well, I got sidetracked with Anson's question when he asked Paul how you market for nut damage, and I
didn't even see that.
I couldn't pay attention. I lost you about a minute of your conversation.
I shouldn't have said the word nut. I forgot who was in the room. I'm sorry.
No, I mean
Just kidding.
And then just to finish up, it's when you get up into the 8 or 9 a day, then you're like, okay, I'm really making sure that I'm getting all the money for this. And I don't know compounding every day if that's more than a hail guy, I don't know, or less, because they have expenses. I don't have expenses. But it's hard to say, when you're hitting those kinds of numbers. But when you're hitting over 1,000 a day, that's when, to me, you're full stride. You're getting the big dents at the highest level. You're getting a dent that you would normally get for 800. Now it's 1,200. Now it's 1,300.
Yep.
Because
and you can be more confident. You can sell yourself better because you know you're at your number, so you can pass on stuff or be stronger in the negotiating process too.
Well, I mean,
hold your ground.
Paul helped a lot because when he was quoting, I think it was a time, I think it was 1,400 or something like that. I was like, 1,400? I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for 1,400, you know. And I got 1,400. I was like, wow, am I just not seeing this like I should be? And sure enough, it was that. So Paul was big inspiration when he hit some bigger numbers that I just didn't even think about. I wasn't arrogant. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it just shows it. Everybody can learn. You're never too old to stop learning and improving your game.
If there's anybody that's worth that, it's Sal. So we need to help Sal get up.
I would agree with that.
I had thought it had to.
You don't have any idea what I had to pay him.
Like, man, where he lives is really expensive. He's really happy, you know. But then I found out he's got 5 kids, and I was like, oh, now I know.
Well, so somebody's got a great question. I guess Ray Stokely, how do you explain getting jobs up to 1,400? Would you have to go through insurance companies? I think the quick answer for me is that it's both. I mean, that's why I don't tell people not that I'll save them from an insurance claim, because it's just not true. Number one, not if you want to get those numbers, and then number two, it just depends. I think Sal would probably, any of you guys on here would testify to the fact that customers will spend that out of their pocket, and then some will make insurance claims.
Yep.
And I'm willing to work with any of it.
I think it comes down to, you didn't know that they would spend that much. You honestly didn't realize that what you were quoting at 700 or 800, they could do 1,200.
Right.
It's just they save their money, and they're not going to give it all up. But they also love their car. They hate the dent. They have $1,000 deductible. You didn't know all of that, but when you bid 800 before, they were happy because they saved 200. But when you bid at 1,400, oh well, another $600, but they still go for it. So
let me just, if I can, let me just say, I think there's two things that we as PDR techs tend to overlook. Number one is that our service is constantly, in the consumer's mind, constantly compared to a conventional repair. When they come in with large damage, they're not comparing us to other PDR. They're comparing us to a conventional repair.
Yeah, true.
And
I don't see them comparing it to conventional. I don't see that, at least in my case.
Let me put it this way: from a price point, from a price perspective, they are.
That's true. Yeah.
So when you're comparing what we can offer on a big dent repair versus the alternative, which is a body shop, the price in their mind that their mind is anchored on when it comes to a body shop is going to be in the thousands of dollars range, right?
That's true.
So it's a lot easier to say 1,400 and have them go, oh, okay, I get it.
That's true.
Now the second thing is, if a customer knows what they're talking about, or if they spend some time to educate themselves regarding what's going to happen in a conventional repair, they'll probably quickly learn that, or even if they're not able to put these things together, they know that not only is it the cost to repair, the cost to then do the refinish, the cost, the time away from their car, which means they're in a loaner car, and then if they're really, really smart, they get into diminished value, and you start to add up the total.
That's the big one.
Total cost of this entire process through a body shop, and you look at a PDR price that might be $1,400, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. I got one that got through insurance. I quoted $4,100 on this year, and the insurance paid $37 and change. And the lady on the phone said, "I'm giving you everything I can. I can't think of anything else that I can possibly put on here to get you up there through insurance." And they did it. And with the additional stuff that the customer had us do, we went over $4K on that particular job. And
but you said
Ray Stokely asked, why wouldn't they just file a $500 claim or pay the $500 deductible? And like you just mentioned, diminished value. That's a huge one that there's not a lot of education on.
Mhm.
And Anson said he's seeing people with $1,000 deductibles. It's that thing of like, I don't want to claim, my rates are going to go
That's
up.
right.
But then you got the Carfax report. There's a lot of reasons where if you have a $500 deductible, you'll pay $1,500 and do it like that.
But I mean, right now you have Paul Kordon. You have a lot of people talking about higher prices. But what else has to happen for all of that to really work better? People have got to improve the quality of their repairs.
Yes.
Mhm.
You can't.
Oh yeah,
Not
you
everybody
can.
can do it.
No,
If you can't,
Well,
if
that
you
goes
can't put out a
back.
top
That
notch
goes
repair,
back
you're
to
not
what
going
we're
to get top
saying
dollar.
earlier. How many guys can
So
do it?
when I have
We don't really need a bunch.
Well, when there's guys out there thinking they can get more money off of a chart, but they're going to use like Cola Fria, to pull a dent out and make it look 80%. That's not going to happen. You've got to glass that thing to get 1,400. Because the doctor is going to walk out and look at his Porsche and make sure it's gone completely. You can't just all of a sudden just get the price, kind of make it look a little bit better. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is it's all about the quality, because the prices will come with the quality. So the first thing to do is find the technicians that can do the quality, not the guys that can just talk about it. Find them first. Show what can be done and how good it can be done. And then the prices will kind of match that kind of quality. But I think the problem is if we don't have enough technicians hitting a certain quality, I don't care what kind of charts or what anything happens, you're just not going to get that kind of money if your quality is not there. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for our industry either. I had a body shop call me up and say, I want to buy your tools now. And I'm just listening to him. And he said, I had a dent guy that I used like crazy and he was great, but now he's become completely way over the top expensive. He came in here quoting way over what he wanted. And I have to polish and sand his work when he's done. And he wants more money. So he dropped the tech and bought a bunch of tools he's trying to learn, whether he learns or not. But that's not the approach. The approach is not to raise your prices and still do the same crappy work. You've got to raise your quality of repair to match that kind of dollar amount. And that's kind of where I'm just seeing that what's important now is for anybody entering this industry, they really should see what the quality should look like, and not just hear or read what it should look like. They want to see it, and that's kind of where my focus is right now with PDR videos, is just to kind of highlight that more as to what truly quality would look like on some of this bigger damage.
Let me wrap us back.
Are you guys not seeing? Are you not seeing the catch-22 of the big damage though? You want to be able to fix it to sell it, right? You have to be able to fix it to sell it, but people don't know you can do it. I mean, I'm talking about the guys that are new, the guys that can't do it yet, that want to do it.
Yes, you're right. Here's what I will say, and I imagine that Sal would agree with this. For the guys, and probably Gene, for the guys who are doing it and producing it, it seems to find us. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the customers who are looking, because I got to be honest, guys. Last week alone, I probably wrote 5 estimates that were over $1,500 a piece on side panel damage alone. It finds you.
Somebody's saying marketing here. You don't get those kinds of numbers just strictly marketing, because you've got to do higher quality work. Otherwise, you can get that one customer and get the big dollar amount, but if it wasn't great work, your marketing really just got you that one customer and you didn't get the referral. You've got to get the referral of the dentist, the neighbor, the cousin, all of those people that have the nice cars in the garage to really expand your retail. If you're not getting the referral, then you're a tech that just got that job.
Right.
And that's
well, I have to interject here. The old school way of thinking, right? That word of mouth referral you're talking about right there, Sal. right? I agree 150%. That's the best advertising you can do, right?
Yeah.
Love you.
Well, look at how much smaller the Dent world has become because of social media and the online presence. Now, your reviews online are your word of mouth. Everybody goes to
That's
shop.
true.
They look online, they read your reviews, and I'll say that my marketing and my reviews are what helps drive those big jobs to me.
Right.
Hey, I read your reviews, I watched your videos.
Yeah.
You're the guy to fix my car. Or, hey, if you can fix that dent that I saw your picture and video of, I know you can take care of my car. So marketing now, today, is absolutely crucial. That being said, the first thing I preach to guys when I start talking to them about marketing is you need to have your skill set there, and you need to have your business and sales set there, or you're going to chase those people away as fast as you can set the hook on them if you're good, right? That's your catch-22.
Well, I mean, like what Paul said. They find you. They, my brother-in-law told me to call you and about this. When you get that kind of message from somebody, and they hand you some big damage, you better get top dollar for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I'll give you. Go ahead, Sal.
Well, I mean, that just reiterating what this stuff finds you. And I don't know how to explain it, but you constantly get the referrals and they find you, and that's kind of the idea behind high quality. Is it goes from there. It's not necessarily about how well you delivered the price, because if your quality doesn't match it, you don't quite get the referrals you need, and that's kind of where.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a great example. So we have a few. So I'm fixed retail. I only do retail, and I service body shops, which essentially are at our retail prices. But there are a few dealers around here that have contracts with bigger dent companies, and they're not supposed to go outside of the contract. However, all of them bring work to me when it's VIP, or it's a high dollar car, or it's something that just they can't risk it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And but they know that when they bring it to me, that they're going to be paying my price, and they don't necessarily even know what that is. They just know that it's going to be my price, and that's it. And I'm okay with that, because that stuff goes in the cracks when there's a slower retail day or what have you. But it kind of brings us full circle back to some of the questions I was hearing Ryan ask earlier about, well, what is it? What do you do? What can a guy do who's looking to learn how to do big dents, or to do glass, or to finish a large repair? And my opinion on that is, I wouldn't even, if you're a new tech, or if you're a tech who's looking to develop into that, make sure that what you're doing now is to a finished quality that you can call it glass, whatever it is. If you're doing a ding, if you can't glass a ding, don't try a 3-inch dent. If you can't glass a 3-inch dent, don't try an 8-inch dent. You know what I mean? Because the same methods and personal, strengths that it takes to develop, to finish and glass a ding, or a 3 or a 5 or a 10-inch dent, are the same ideas that you're going to apply to a large dent. So if you can't do it on a small scale, don't bother jumping right into the deep end of the pool on large stuff. You really have to develop those skills in order to finish and glass out small stuff first.
Okay,
then
so
that goes with PDR anywhere. Same on hail.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I agree.
Let me ask you, Paul, because this is kind of what's going through my mind lately. You have some really nasty damage, really nasty in the quarter panel, around the rear wheel well, right on the edge, all that stuff, especially some of this newer car stuff on the edge. Even if you have the best glue pulling system you got, right, and you got that damage out, what has to happen to glass it? You got to get a tool behind it at some point.
Yeah, at some point you do.
You're saying on bigger dents.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, or a dolly system of some sort, for sure.
Exactly. That's the part that I think is getting lost. And at least from my perspective, I see that as kind of a big obstacle these days, because so what? you get a lot of it moved out. But at some point, you made one little divot from your tapping down or one little low that you couldn't quite get into. You got to get a tool on that. And what happens is most of the time when I talk to guys about this, they're not prepared to get the tool on it because they started on the outside first. So now they're 90%, no, not even 90%, 70% into the repair. They have a 70% result. And now it's, oh, I got to get behind it. Well, I'm this far along. I'm just going to, all right, I'll give it to him deeper. I'm not going to take apart that inside and try
and charge for it.
So it's almost like a dumbing down. It's like, I don't want to deal with a person that wants to just do everything from the outside and do it good enough. I'm not into that person because we know at some point you got to have tooling skills. You've got to get behind the dent. So at some point, if that person's not learning that and they're learning everything that's doing from the outside, they're going to lose that tooling ability to now cross-check from different angles, where they're going to drill, where they're not going to drill. That's where I see it's kind of a slippery slope. So I'm more focused now on what guys are actually doing when they repair big dents and eliminate some of the myths as to how to approach it, because if you spend 15 or 20 minutes pulling it out and you got it to a point where it looks pretty good and you're not digging into that damage by taking apart the interior to get to it, where are your skills? Because you can't glass it. You can make it.
Well, there's a spot for glue, but it should be secondary unless it's a full glue hole type dent or on a rail. Rail, the metal's different, the way it reacts. It's more of it's taut, I guess. But the open area, that big bounce, if I can get a tool on an open area, I'm putting a tool on. If it's behind a brace, you're running into the metal that's going to be a little taut again. But open area dents all day long. Well, get a couple pushes in and be done.
This is what happened to me. I started out strictly tools, right? Strictly tools, doing the best I can with tools, taking everything apart. Then when glue came along, I see how to use it. You have newer guys now that are introduced to glue up front. So what happens is when you have newer guys introduced to glue up front, that's what they choose first. But when you're at the end of the repair and you can't glass it, it's really hard to now look at how to get tools in there because you didn't start it out to begin with. And that's what I teach with guys now, is that in the very beginning, you got to make a decision how to get a tool on it now. Because if you're 70, 80% into the repair, you're just not going to do it because you're so close. So what are you going to do? You're going to discount it. You're going to make it to where it's like, hey, man, this is the best I can do. Instead of 500, I'll go 250. And you're that technician that's always making everything look 85, 90%, 95%. You can't really quite glass it because you don't have the discipline.
But that's why he's not making money either. A guy that stays in that realm of 85, he doesn't have the passion. He's probably in it for the money. He doesn't have the drive to take his skills to the next level. Nobody that's doing it for 2 years plus should be worried about or be content with 85. Even if it's a dealership, in my opinion, get them right. If you're going to do it, do it.
So here, I'm going to give the newbies some advice here, right? So when I was building my business, you're done early, right? You're not busy. You're new. You're the new guy on the block. So I would get done with work, and maybe it was 12 or 1 o'clock. I didn't pack up and go home, or I didn't pack up and go and catch a movie. I went back to that dealer where I was cutting my teeth. And I said, hey, the bedside you're going to send to the body shop, let me take a swing at it.
Oh,
right? What am I going to do? It's going to the body shop anyways. I'm not going to hurt anything. That's where I cut my teeth on the big damage. That's how I learned how to fix this big stuff.
Smart.
You have to.
So if you're going to be passionate and you want to do this, like, put the time in. There's no fast forward here. There's no cola fria. There's no, even the dent dial doesn't give you an automatic.
That's right.
Advantage to fix the dent. Like, you have to put the time in. Yeah. And that's what the new guys like. You hear about guys doing $1,400 panels. Well, I bet your first year out, you weren't doing $1,400 panels. You know what I mean? If you're doing hail, but I'm talking big hits. Put the time in. Learn the craft. Learn to do it right. Like,
I think
man.
a lot of it is finding the right popcorn too. I mean, if you're going with the Walmart brand popcorn and you're not investing in the Orville Redenbacher extra butter,
well, and the red tape, right? You have to have
the red tape. You got it. You have to seal the panel up correctly.
Right.
You lose that air pressure, and the popcorn doesn't do its job.
That's funny.
But seriously, guys, put the time in. Like, if you want to know if you want to learn how to do big dents, don't go learn on a retail customer's car. Go to the rock lot and put the time in and do it. That's pay your dues, man. There's no easy way to get here.
Yeah. So one of the things that we have an agreement on in the shop, meaning my front office guys, I'm the only tech in the shop, is that we're always going to estimate for the longest possible, hardest path, so that we don't. And the reason I do that is because it's easier for me to find a faster way and then give that money back to the customer if I need to, than it is to charge for the fastest way, find that I've worked myself in a corner or that I've found an obstruction or something that I wasn't planning on, and now I have to pull a door off that I previously thought I could get with glue or whatever. So it's kind of and it's the truth. The truth is that there are a lot of quarter panels that I think, well, I can get away with glue pulling it to, all the way. But then I find out that, now I'm going to have to pull the tire and the liner and try to find a factory hole or drill hole. Well, now I didn't charge for that. So now I'm wasting a lot of my time that I'm not getting paid for, and where I could have, because it's quite, if you know me, you know that I preach, get paid what you're worth, get paid for what we do. Documentation is justification is salvation is something I live and breathe by, because we can charge for every little, thing that we do. Rightfully so, because it's work.
Especially if you're delivering high quality. To me, if you deliver high quality and you got 5 hours into something,
absolutely, Anson.
What happens then is you have to now match that 5 hours to what you would get doing the easier stuff. And that's what I would tell people is, I've been here 5 hours. If I worked at a dealer for 5 hours, I'd be way ahead. So I really have to get this amount and more because I'm at your home. So my risk was that I could have not finished this 4 hours into it. I could have broke paint or something. So my risk is that I'm here and I could be 6 hours into it. I still don't know if I can fix it. So
been there.
And you got liability when you're doing that kind of damage. You're taking a lot of stuff apart. You can snap a door panel, break the glass. You drop the door off a stand. You have a lot of liability that comes into play as well.
And you're riding your whole day. So that's a big shift you have there too, right? When you're doing wholesale, you got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 cars for a day. When you're doing that big smash, you've got a car, right? The door that Bryce did at the advanced seminar, that's the only thing that's going to be on my schedule that day, right? If that goes south, man,
that's right.
I didn't make any money today.
Well,
that's
a good.
How do your customers feel when you tell them that? Do they buy that?
They do. They do.
Right. They get it. They really do.
That's my big. That's one of the things that I said during the estimate is that, I always tell them I'm an extreme repair technician. I take on this stuff. I'm kind of the crazy one. What you have here, Mr. Customer, is something that qualifies for what I do, and that's extreme repair. But there, even at my level, at the 7th hour, something could go wrong. I don't know, but all I know is that it's doable, but there is a risk involved, and that's why that section's 300, that section's 400, and that one right there, I'm going to say that's 700. And
so let me ask you three a question. You three all are very good technicians. You've wrapped up your markets for the most part. You're mostly strictly retail. Am I correct on all that? I mean, as far as retail?
Yeah, but let me quickly just point out.
And you've got your marketing. Let me ask one thing. All your marketing and everybody's saying, all right, well, I need to start fixing bigger dents and pushing the envelope, but how do I get the people? It's doing your homework. How many of you three go to somebody's house for the first time and they already know who you are because they looked at your videos on YouTube or they've talked to other people? I mean, anybody ever, you just walk up and you give them a price and they're like, Yep, we're good. I know what you can do, and you don't have to sell them as hard as
It
others.
happens
You run into
all
that
the
a lot.
time. It happens all the time.
That's happening to me more so than ever now. I didn't realize how I can recognize it now more. And I'm in a weird position because now I kind of can't do it because of the tool company. So I even throw out even more ridiculous price, and I still get it. So it's a crazy bubble I'm in, and I don't want people to think that I assume they have the same kind of scenario as me. That's not the case at all. But I'm just happen to be, I guess, in a way, taking advantage of my position of where I'm at and what I'm doing. And that's the way it is. I tell people that all the time. I say, I have tools over here that are kind of pulling me away because that revenue and this revenue, and that's why I got it. That's why your dent's going to cost $3,000, whatever.
Let me get some bullet points here. So guys listening, and they're listening to this conversation, they want to be doing big dents, and we've talked about, all the different things. So the first step is test your skill level. Whether you do what Gene says, go into a dealership and attacking stuff, or test panels, but always try to improve your skills on bigger dents, and then just keep marketing yourself. And as you get better, start tackling more jobs and make sure you spend the time on it. Is that pretty much the steps they need to take?
That's it, right?
Well, I mean, I would add
start glassing the small stuff too.
Yeah,
you have to work at a high level.
Stuff. That's really good advice because it really comes down to that. If you're taking small damage and you're putting your hits in it, and then you're taking 1,500 and 2,000 and sanding it down, and it looks good enough, and you're getting paid, you're not on your way to doing large damage. If you're glassing small stuff and you barely have to polish it because you brought it up so nice and clean, you could be on your way to doing larger damage, because that's what it comes down to, is not messing it up on the way up. And that's my main thing. You can't bunch it up on the way up. It has to be kind of fairly smooth. At least that's the way I do it. Otherwise, you're going to get into that cross-checking a million pushes. And that's just my particular method. But as far as someone that wants to get better at large damage, my advice would be find out first who's doing it, truly doing it, and getting clean repairs. That's number one. And when you find them, find out what they're doing and try and focus on the discipline that they're doing during the estimate, during the repair, and everything else. What's their discipline? Because I'll tell you, it comes down to that. We were talking to guys earlier. I don't care where you live. There is one person that you're seeing in that month that loves their car. They love it. And they know what it's like to get it repainted. And they will pay. I'm sorry. Let's go backtrack. They have the money. They save. They have the money. Now they can go buy a new shoes. They can go buy a new car, but they're just good with their money. They have it. And they come to you and they have a big dent on their car that they love. They don't want to get it painted. That's like the perfect customer to get the most money out of it. At some point, if you don't get that job, there's something wrong with your game plan. Something happened there. But you could say, oh, it's a lot of competition or whatever. But at some point, you've got to be getting those people that are looking for the best. And if you're not getting them, then you got to look at your work. You honestly do. Because what it comes down to is your work speaks for you when you're not there. Every day that customer comes out of the supermarket, out of their job, and they look at that repair you did on their car 3 months ago, and they don't see it. They just remember you. They just do. If they see the wiggles and they see the flaws, they
remember you then.
They remember you. So what happens is now their neighbor remembers you because they're not going to go to you when they have a black fender on their prized baby don't want the wiggles. They want the repaint because they think that's more perfect. They want perfection. What you want to try to do with your damage is show people that it's invisible. It's gone. And when you can accomplish that consistently, for some reason, it just spreads like wildfire. And all of a sudden you get this call from this body shop and out of the blue, and they call you over and they have you look at something. You're kind of like, what? How did you know about me? It comes down to that. Somebody saw your work somewhere. That's why whenever you do your work, always assume others are going to be looking at it. Because when they do, that speaks for you. If your work is 80%, 90%, or even 95%, and you just wanted the money and you're off, somebody saw that. You could have got a job, but they didn't give it to you because of the little wiggles. It really comes down to that in PDR. You've got to glass as much as you can to get that constant, strong referral base that builds and builds and builds to where people, they don't look to anybody because they know your work is just invisible. It's gone. And that's kind of what I experienced. People really, really gravitate towards somebody that can eliminate the dent completely and not leave little wiggles. And that's kind of where I found my biggest, support in my referral base, when people say, when he takes a dent out, it's gone. I can't even find it. And I find that with body shops too. You've got to glass stuff.
So that's the back of my business card there. That's what I hand to every customer.
This is a self-portrait of a person who has done autograph your work. Exactly. So true. All
Well,
right,
guys, I think I'm gonna get out of here.
Me too.
But I wanted to say thank you.
Go ahead.
Just say thank you.
Hey,
and
thanks for
appreciate
coming
the
on
conversation.
here.
So
yeah, this is
Sal,
great.
Gene,
This platform
all
is
of
awesome.
you guys. Yeah, we'll be on here some more.
all right.
But one thing, Sal, I will say this earlier. You said there needs to be a diversity between Hale and Dordinger, right? Or divergency. I think at the end there, the same thing can be applied to Hale. Guys that need to push the envelope on fixing bigger damage to keep roof skins from getting cut off. They need to start pushing the envelope also. So there's a lot of similarities in technicians and the level of repair that they can do. So we're not so far off.
I don't know Hale. I don't want to pretend to know Hale.
Yeah, I don't know Dording or big damage. That's why I was sitting here tonight kind of like, but I love listening to it. I wish I could have contributed more, but I really enjoyed all three of your input. It was a really good show.
So great. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for taking your time, guys. It was really good.
you got it.
Peace
See
out,
you guys.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Love you, Paul. Love you, Gene. Love you, Sal.
Good night, guys. Love
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
Night.
Good night.
Bye. All right. All right, fellas. Thanks for showing up, man. If you can, share this. Like I said, on the bottom right, click that share link and share it out there. I want to get more Dent guys to follow this stuff, all right? Anybody else want to add anything before when I sign off here? Because I've been on for a couple hours too. All right, we had a lot of guys watching tonight. That was pretty awesome. All right, we're going to be doing some more of these. We're going to get a new guest on the next one. Paul Kordon is going to be working with me a lot on these, kind of co-hosting them, and so is Gene Fetty. So we'll be seeing you guys around, and please share this and follow me, and I will notify you when we have them come on, all right? See you, fellas.